Hey everyone, so I figured I'd make a quick and hopefully informative video on how I patterned Ravus Nox Fleuret from Final Road Trip Simulator 2015. So first things first, I downloaded the reference sheets from Square Enix's website, and Square Enix has been extremely kind to cosplayers because they have produced these wonderfully detailed reference sheets. So in the case of Ravus, there's both the FF15 one and the Kingsglaive reference sheet. There are differences, different motion capture actor, so he looks different, and also in Kingsglaive he doesn't have the Magitech arm, and also noteworthy is that the render quality is much better in the Kingsglaive reference sheet, so this was really helpful in selecting my fabric. And also this one includes the leg armor reference, the embroidered crest, this arm thingy. Yeah, alright, so I did everything in Inkscape, and Inkscape basically, it's kind of like Adobe Illustrator in the same sense that like GIMP is kind of like Photoshop. It's a free open source program, and it's a vector graphics program. So the difference between, say, Inkscape and Photoshop is that when you draw in Inkscape, every line and everything that you create is basically represented by a mathematical entity, and it's a dynamic object, meaning that you can move it and stuff, change its shape. The image is generated by the program's interpretation of code that is, like, basically this line is just a mathematical equation on a 2D plane, and you can manipulate it. Whereas, like, say in Photoshop, it's just pixels in a grid. So what this means pragmatically is that you can manipulate stuff and make changes, and scaling is also something that is really useful because you don't get any loss in resolution as you scale stuff. Anyway, so that's just a quick introduction. So how I did it, more or less, first of all, whenever you want to pattern something that's to be printed and used in real life, you want to set your units to, say, centimeters in this case. And what's also helpful is the grid. I put a line on every centimeter and like a darker line on every 5 centimeters. And also in the bottom right corner, you see the coordinates of your cursor. So yeah, first things first, I took this image, and what I did to pattern the jacket, just the first step was to trace it. So I traced it, and then from there I applied my measurements and created a pattern block. I honestly, like, the way I did this was just by measuring garments I already have, by comparing how they fit and how I wanted this to fit, just using my base measurements, and somehow I ended up getting it right the first try without a mock-up. I do not recommend doing this because this was like over 200 pieces, and had I screwed up, I don't want to think about it. So from here, I basically took all the pieces and I had to basically break them out so that they made sense and that they had seam allowances and that they were, something I could assemble. So, just gonna go in order in terms of my file. Let's go with the skirt then. So this is pretty straightforward, just basic panels. I drew this in a separate layer, but this is the crest. I sent this vector to the person on Etsy who embroidered it. I also put in the ornaments. These were resin cast, and there's also the inside. It has its own applique that no one's ever going to see, but hey, I struggled with it. So okay, this is what the front looks like. It's just a bunch of pieces, and it was a bit of a pain in the ass. So this whole ridge thing in the front, that in particular I'm kind of proud of. You can see it here. Basically I made it so that like everything folded over, and in here like I sewed some piping that I made, and so basically like I had to cut out each and every shape and then mirror it and then give it a seam allowance, and that's what allowed it to hold a curve even though it's a bunch of oddly shaped lozenges or rectangles or what have you. And just a quick demonstration of how to add a seam allowance. Just a quick demonstration. Okay, let's just draw a square. Oh wait, no, it's not selected. Okay, that's why. Okay. Okay, square. Stroke style. Huh? Yeah, solid. Give me a solid. Why is it? Okay. Right, so what you do is you set your steps on your inset. Say you want a 1 centimeter seam allowance, you go 1, and you close, and then you duplicate Control D, then you press Control outside bracket, yeah, Control outside bracket, and then it just generates a just a perimeter around it that's 1 centimeter away. So it'll do that for more complicated shapes, but it will be all screwy if your nodes aren't like all connected. Yeah, anyways. This isn't like a tutorial on how to use Inkscape, by all means. There's plenty of resources online for that. I'm just trying to, you know, cram as much in as I can. Okay, so that's the front. This is the back. I actually counted the back, and it's like 70 or 80 something pieces, like all of these little squares. That took forever. All the trim, I patterned it out separately. Yeah, so this is the back. Okay, what's next? Oh, the side skirt thingy? Yeah, there's some like older revisions of it, like this I didn't end up using. I think I ended up going with this. And yeah, there's like the top part, that's just a bunch of different pieces. Yeah. This was a heckin' struggle to assemble, but it's all in good fun. Crest? Yeah, I showed the crest already. Yeah, so there's the crest. And if you look at the reference, like you can tell that the reference is lopsided, especially if you compare with this guy. Yeah, alright, so. Oof, Inkscape is lagging. Yeah, you want to save often in this program, because if you zoom in too fast, it's going to crash. Just stupid shit like that. Ornaments, yeah, oh wait, one of these is still be gone. So these, I just made a 2D template. I cut it out in MDF, and I sculpted it. Then I did a whole, you know, molding and casting thing. Pretty tedious. These were made out of sheet metal, and this thing was like a layer of sheet metal, then with like foam accents, then epoxied over to make it harder. Yeah. That's that. Oh boy, sleeves. So I did a tailor sleeve, which is a 2-part sleeve. I think 3.0, that's the one. But I struggled. Yeah, there's a bunch of different iterations of it. I eventually got it right. I almost ran out of fabric, but by the time I got it right, I just ran out, so things worked. The collar, I deleted all my drafts because I went through like 12 of them. So this is the outside collar of the jacket because he has 2 collars. And these little thingies here, those make the poofy bits. Basically, I just cut this up into whatever number of pieces, and then I just dragged these out by a given distance, and I just repeated that. And yeah, because I added length so that they would have excess fabric and hence poof out. Like you can kind of see it here. Kingsglaive, come on, Kingsglaive, there you go. You can see it a lot better here. And this collar, I made a separate undershirt for him, so. Yep, all right, undershirt. So the undershirt is basically just a long sleeve t-shirt, nothing too crazy. And the collar, these patches, I got embroidered too. And the armor, so this is where I'm at now. I haven't, okay, I kind of started constructing it, but then I went through a big move and life change, and hopefully I'll be back into it soon. But yeah, so basically I just, on my second monitor, just had the reference and just drew it to scale. I printed out on paper just to get an idea of how it would fit. Like the bracers and the bicep piece, those went through like one or two prototypes to get like the fit and like the effect right, because like it's kind of like a ribbed effect, and I didn't know if I just wanted to do undercuts or if I wanted to make it like separate pieces. Yeah, you can see it here. It's not super high res there, but yeah. And the last thing I want to show is how you go from this program into having something in real life that you can, print out. Like, how do you go from the drawing to a physical pattern? So what you're gonna do, okay, so this is your print area. It's your document. Everything is kind of just floating everywhere, but say I wanted to print only, say, my gauntlet. I would take my gauntlet, put it here, go in the document properties, change the size so it's, anyways, and then I would save as a PDF. PDF, yeah. As you can see, I got like a crap ton of them. So I would do that, and then I would go and open one up. Which one should I do? Okay, why not this? Wait. Okay. There you go. Yeah, so this is one of the skirt pieces. I picked a large piece just so I could show just so I could show this. Basically, you want to print in poster mode, scaled 100%, and this will print out over 12 pieces of paper. What you do in practice is that there's like a little bit of a margin on each side, so you have to cut like on one side, then overlap them, tape together, just basically piece this thing together, cut it out. It's kind of a long and painstaking process, but unless you have the money for like one of those huge ass printers, this is a pretty decent way to do it. And you gain the flexibility of being able to reprint it, being able to rescale, resize, and readjust things in software. Like, when you have this much complexity, I feel that it's worth doing the pattern in software. So yeah, that about concludes my video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you want me to do more stuff like this, then by all means, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for listening.